Welcome to this week's episode of the Pocket Parlay podcast. I'm your host, Will Maynard, joined by my two favorite co-hosts, Mr. Zachary Mishik and Mr. Ryan Head. Zach or Ryan, you went out of turn right there. I saw you ready
Yeah, I
with the
mistimed that. I was ready.
yeah.
I'm
We
Zach.
were we were gone last week. We're back this week. Lots happened. NBA coming soon, but it was an eventful week. Week 9, yeah, big week 9. A lot of
Maynard,
stuff to
you
talk
gave
about.
up on No Shave November. I don't see the stash.
It
What
was getting
happened?
like long, but it wasn't fulling in. So I'm getting some product in. I'm gonna try and see if I can grow it out.
Next year,
Restart.
next year.
Yeah, maybe next year. Um, but the first thing I wanted us to talk about is the biggest game of the week, aka America's game of the week: the Cowboys versus the Eagles. I really wanted to hear what y'all's opinions were. I've been waiting to hear this.
I want to hear your opinion first, kind of, Maynard. You're the
Yeah,
biased
I
one
mean,
out of
I
us.
can I can do a like 30-seconder, but I want to
Yeah.
hear your honest opinion. Like, I
Oh,
don't think there's anything crazy to take away from. Like, I thought the Cowboys played a really solid game all the way around.
Dak didn't
I
mess
thought,
up. Wasn't
yeah,
Dak's fault.
I thought at the end of the day, I don't think you're gonna like this, Maynard, but we got screwed by the refs. Like, the refs ruined the game for us on multiple calls. But I want to hear what you have to say. I feel like you're gonna disagree with that.
I'll disagree with the refs screwed y'all. I do think though that like this did look good for the Cowboys. You were in Philly. Look. I think the Cowboys look good.
Oh, it did look good for us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
did
yeah,
look
oh,
good.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you were in Philly. You lost by 5 points. You came up a couple yards short on a Hail Mary. I really didn't expect y'all to be able to score that many points, and I said this a couple weeks ago that I didn't think y'all were built to come from behind, and y'all did, uh, which was really impressive. And you look back at the game, you think about like that fourth and goal call to go for it that ended up being what like an inch or two short. Um, I didn't like that call. I thought you should have kicked the field goal, make it a one possession game. But I see where Mike McCarthy was trying to go with it. But
Are
I
you
thought
talking
y'all
about
just
the goal line play where we actually did score?
you
Where
didn't
they called us short, where we actually did score?
you
Is
didn't
that
Yes,
what
score
you're
right
we
there.
referencing?
definitely we did score. The ruling of catching a ball, it's not where his knee goes down because he
It's
didn't have
crazy.
the ball. It's where they catch the ball.
But when he catch it, he caught it immediately, and then his knee was down, and he was touched by a defender.
Then why is it until the ball hits the ground for a possession of a ball, of a catch?
Because if you go down and it bobbles, then and it touches the ground, then it's not a catch. But if that's the process of the catch. He caught it, he went down. Listen, y'all can try and say the ref screwed you. I won't sit here and like defend refs because they make horrible calls all the time. But I thought y'all were gonna split this series with Philly at the beginning of the year. They went at home, y'all went at home. This would have been huge for y'all. I would say the only negative to take away from the Cowboys on this is that you technically have lost to probably the two best teams in the NFC. So it kind of firmly still puts y'all at the 3 spot. But I mean, when Philly comes to Dallas, after seeing this game, I firmly expect y'all to win that. So I'm not gonna say the refs screwed you. I expected Philly to win in this game, and they did. But the Cowboys definitely kind of proved that they can hang around with the best of the NFC um, this week.
Yeah, I would just say my positives from the game is Mike McCarthy called a really good game. He went for it on fourth down multiple times. I think going for it on that fourth and goal was a good call because at the end of the day, you pin them back on their 1 yard line and make them play a weird style of football rather than be on the 25. Um, and wait, let's talk about tush push real quick. They false start every single time. Every single time they run the play, their guards shoot the gaps and they're early before Jason Kelsey. Just watch it for here on out. Um, I would say a negative from the game would be Terrence Steele giving up a lot of pressures. He had a 15, was it 15 rating on PFF? But
Ooh.
besides that, everything else was a good I would say all around good game besides the closing factor.
It was a fun game to watch. That last Hail Mary to CD was a little interesting, having him come 5 yards short and try and like run it across.
We don't have any go up and get the ball kind of guys.
Yeah, no, I mean you don't. I just thought it was an interesting kind of little swivel for CD fantasy owners. I'm sure they loved it in those last few points. Um, you have any more to talk about on that game? I mean, it was a great game. I
No,
can't wait to see the
honestly, it was just a really
rematch.
good game. I feel like
Yeah.
both teams played just really well. It was a good football game.
No.
So I do want to do a new segment, a little this or that action. You're gonna tell me whether you take CJ Stroud or the other quarterback I will name. Okay,
Nice.
would you rather have CJ Stroud or Sam Howell? This is
CJ.
more like going forward.
Yeah, it'll
CJ?
get harder.
Yeah,
CJ.
CJ. Would you rather have CJ Stroud or Jared Goff?
Ooh, that's kind of good.
I'll go CJ.
Um, can we establish some rules? Is this like for this year, next 3 years, or like franchise quarterback type deal? Like,
I'd say
Jared
put like
Goff's won a Super Bowl, and I think Jared Goff will win a Super.
he has not
Sorry, he
won a
played in a
Super.
Super Bowl. Sorry,
Yeah,
played
yeah.
in a Super Bowl. I think he will win a Super Bowl before Stroud does. Like, I think
Okay.
the Lions will win a Super Bowl soon.
I think we got to factor in a little bit of kind of going into the future and also kind of now. Um,
And what about
Deshaun
salary?
Watson. No, we're not doing salary, not doing money, contract stuff. Just purely who would you rather have? Deshaun Watson.
CJ,
CJ. Yeah, CJ.
I think I'll take CJ. Tua Tagovailoa.
Ooh.
CJ.
Yeah, I'm CJ.
I think I'm taking CJ too. Trevor Lawrence.
Oh.
These are
I think
tough.
I think CJ can make any
Trevor
throw on the
Lawrence.
field. Make any throw on the field. It's just his mental game, and I think CJ can be a leader. So I'll go CJ.
I'll go Trevor here. Um, let's go with Matthew Stafford.
CJ.
CJ.
Yeah, that was pretty.
Yeah, broken hand. Matthew Stafford. Yeah, I'll go
Okay, well,
CJ.
yeah, sure.
He's always hurt.
Anthony Richardson.
CJ. I like pocket passers.
Yeah, I think CJ is gonna have a better career,
I think
longer
I'm gonna
career at
go.
least for sure.
I think I'm gonna go with Anthony Richardson on that. I just loved what I saw before he actually went down.
Why
And
so? Running
huh?
quarterbacks don't last that long. Seems like.
Yeah,
Well, screw it. Maybe he'll be different.
like
I
even
don't
the
know.
best of the
Dude,
best for like
this is
that like prototype of quarterback. I feel like it's Cam Newton, and he had an MVP year, but I think they made the playoffs like once. It was probably like his MVP year. Like, I don't
He
know.
also went to the Super Bowl his MVP year, so let's put a little respect on his name.
Hey Maynard, just beware. I'm keeping receipts from now on. So whenever you
Okay,
say
yeah.
no, that they come
Keep
come with some
receipts.
follow up.
All right. Last name Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert.
I'm gonna go slightly Justin Herbert.
Herbert, 6'5".
Yeah.
CJ's not far off though, especially after this past week. Was it 5 touchdowns, 400 yards? That
No,
game-winning drive was
Herbie is
stupid.
still young though. Herbie still has like the potential that a lot of the quarterbacks that you named earlier to like don't have. So I would definitely take Herbie on that one.
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll be revisiting that in the off season after we see a full year of CJ Stroud.
Good game. Do you want
Um,
to go right into Justin Herbert now?
yeah, we can talk about it. The game versus the Jets. Herbert, I believe, had 136 yards, no interceptions, no touchdowns. Do you think this speaks more on the offense and Justin Herbert or the Jets defense? I'll let y'all go. I want to hear y'all's opinions.
I
Beck, you
think
can take it.
I think this goes more on Justin Herbert. I don't know. I'm excited to see the Chargers win a game without him being Superman, but also I don't think Justin Herbert's that good. I think he has a good team around him, but without the defense getting how many points last night?
The defense they gave
Yeah,
up 6 points.
6 points, but then they had a bunch of like strip sacks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, four strip set or 4 fumbles.
So, I don't know. It didn't look like Justin Herbert was going to win him that game, anyways. So I think it's more about the Jets' defense and how bad Herbie is.
I'm gonna have to disagree. I don't want to take the Chargers side here, but the Jets defense has embarrassed like a lot of teams this year, and Herbie didn't throw any interceptions, which is, I mean, when you're playing a defense like that, you can't ask for a whole lot more. And then to echo Maynard's point that he's made a couple times this year, this was a game where Herbert didn't have a lot of offensive help. Like he really only had Keenan Allen to throw to. He had Eckler too, but as far as receivers, Quentin Johnson is horrible. He he had Keenan Allen. So
Everett.
when you only have that guy to throw to against an offense or a defense like the Jets, it's going to be a difficult game. I think it definitely speaks more to how dominant that defense is. I agree with you, Zach. I don't think Herbie is the dude. I mean, we saw Dak Prescott, who I don't think is better than Herbert, but Dak played better against the Jets defense when they played earlier in the season. Different game, obviously, but um, yeah, I think that's a really good defense, and on a week by week basis, they're going to beat most teams. Maynard.
First off, I'm a little hurt that like you're so reluctant to take the Chargers side after I just sat up here and said how good the Cowboys played
Yeah, I
despite the
did though. I
loss.
did.
You did. But I'm really gonna piggyback off a lot of your points. So I mean, one, the finger, he's still. It seems like it's still kind of in his head. I don't know if y'all saw he had like a rush for 8 9 yards to get a first down, and the whole time as he was getting tackled by three guys, he was just focused on keeping that hand off the ground. Um, but he also didn't have any offensive help. I mean, I don't know why, but for some reason Sauce Gardner was shadowing Quentin Johnston, not Keenan. He was shadowing Quentin Johnston. I don't, I probably could have locked up Quentin Johnston that game. He's one of the like league bottom losers when it comes to separation yards per route run. And
I
then,
think I
huh?
saw a point on that was it's either you take away because you're not going to be able to lock up Keenan Allen, but you just take away one side of the field and then you could double Keenan, I
That's what I
think.
was thinking. You literally took away everything that the Chargers offense had to offer except for Keenan Allen, and then everybody else can just focus their energy on him. And he had a decent game, but I think he had less than 80 yards. Like
Yeah,
they definitely did a good job against him.
but he did get at 10. He did get to 10,000 yards. Shout out Keenan. Um, But
Weird.
furthermore, he didn't. I mean, Justin just didn't have a lot of help. This is one of the better defenses, and probably one of the best defenses. And Zach, you were kind of shitting on Herbert, but if you want to pull up like who all the Jets have played between Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, and Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert finished with the second best passer rating in QBR out of those four quarterbacks when they played the Jets. And the one thing he didn't do that every one of those other quarterbacks did is throw an interception. So he may not have had an electric game, but he kept it clean and he let his defense do work. I do want to talk about the flip side though. The Jets offense is so god awful. I know their offensive line is banged up, but Zach, I will say I took pleasure just running over the Zach Wilson bus that you hopped back on because his offensive line wasn't very good, but he was missing throws left and right. Could not understand pressure, and this is a bad Chargers
The
defense.
one the
I
one
mean,
that hit like the tight end right in the chest and he bobbled in the end zone, that one?
how about like the four overthrows on third, second down?
Hey, we
I
all miss
mean,
throws, don't we? We all miss throws.
yes, but when you miss that, you miss that many throws.
Hey,
We're
Um,
not all starting quarterback for the New York Jets.
yeah,
I think he's got to do better.
and when you have Garrett Wilson as your wide receiver one, you're gonna have some open throws. So, it was a great win for the Chargers. I'm not back on the bus yet.
that was
We
my
beat the Bears and the Jets.
that was my next question. You
No,
back on?
Absolutely not.
They're
I'll
gonna make.
stick with it. If we beat the
Oh,
Lions this week, might have to reconsider it. But there's a big difference between the
Wait,
Lions
what
and the.
week? What week?
Huh?
What week is it when the bus leaves and you can't get back on? What
yeah.
week is
I
it?
mean, no, at this point, it's already unacceptable. You can't hop off and just say, I don't care at all, and then hop
No, no,
on
whoa, whoa,
three
whoa,
weeks
whoa, okay.
later.
His
Let
logic,
me
his teams always do
No, no,
better
no,
when
let
you
let
me
Maynard
hold
talk.
on.
I want to hear his
My
logic. Yeah.
logic is not like I'm hopping back. I believe I told y'all when we were 2-4, I could see us slipping and falling our way into the playoffs. The idea that we could go to the AFC Championship to the Super Bowl is like completely out the window. There's nothing that can happen this year that will make me think that we can win a Super Bowl or that we can even make the AFC Championship game.
But
Making
why
the
is it
playoffs?
Well, yeah, but I
Huh?
want to hear like I need to have like we need to have a line. Something has to there has to be a line in the sand because you keep just jumping
It's
back and
that's
forth.
past.
So
I told you I'm on the bus that we can make the playoffs. I will. There will the bus for to win the Super Bowl was gone. It
there
left
was
three
never a
weeks
bus
ago.
for that. There was never a
when the
bus for
hell were we talking about
that. There
the
was no
Chargers
bus for
Super
that.
Bowl?
We talking about Chargers like top 10 in Super Bowl odds this past year. I
Top
What flight are you
33%.
on?
Oh
What
my
bus
God.
are you
hey,
taking?
I'll tell you. I trust me. It's more than I'm used to. But the idea that like make the playoffs, I've never said that we can't. I said any kind of playoff success, I'm out.
I
And
didn't
I'm
realize
still
we
out.
were playing with delusion. I didn't realize that
Living in Dallas
Super
has really
Bowl.
done Maynard some things. Like, look at him. He's talking Super
Getting
Bowl
old
already.
disease. I know. Every team believes they can win a Super Bowl. Most teams believe that there's a chance they can win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year. I've had ACL injuries. All right, Josh Palmer. I don't know what he did to go on the IR. All right,
He
I
wasn't
don't
good
believe
anyway.
he's he's a good wide receiver three. And Quinn Johnston sucks. So we talked about the Chargers way too much on the show. So I'm ready
Wait, no.
to
When
move
is the
on
week? What week is it that you can't get back on? I want bylaws. I
for
want.
Well, I
the
didn't. It
for
sounds
the
like
playoffs.
playoffs. Like he thinks we're gonna make. He thinks his
I
team is
think
gonna make
I,
the
I think
playoffs.
I think this team will end up making the playoffs. We still got to play like Denver twice. They got to play the Oakland again, or play Las Vegas again. I think we'll find our way into the playoffs, but like any idea of any kind of like AFC championship or even like I
Super
don't even
Bowl.
think. Yeah, I'll let you guys have that delusion. I'm out on any
Ready to
kind
say
of
it's the coach of the year.
postseason success. All right. Moving on.
Moving on.
I'm never getting off the playoff bus until we're statistically eliminated. Um, the
Pretty solid.
Bengals. Ryan, you kind of called it a couple weeks ago that despite the Bengals' slow starts, you were still believing that they were gonna rally. Now they're 5-3, just beat the Bills. I'm gonna let you take off about their
Take off.
comeback.
Yeah, I did call it earlier in the year. I mean, they were a team that I don't know like where they placed as far as like their offense last year, top three, top five, but they were an amazing offense last year. It felt like it was just a matter of time for Joe Burrow to get healthy and things to start clicking. I feel like this was the first week that I mean, these past couple weeks, he's been progressively playing better, but this past week was the first week that like we've seen the Joe Burrow of old, the Joe Burrow that gets Cincinnati to the Super Bowl type Joe Burrow. Yeah, I mean, we were talking week two, week three. Is this team going to make the playoffs? What kind of trades do they need to make? I think at this point, for me at least, like they're one of my top three, top four teams as far as like Super Bowl contenders. They just beat a super good Bills team. Obviously, it's not the Bills' defensive old, but still a decent defense. And yeah, Joe Burrow is clicking again. And Joe Mixon looks really good this year. I feel like the past couple years he's looked a little slow, but if you go back and look at these games the past couple weeks, he's got crazy burst and he's breaking tackles. Like Joe Mixon looks really good this year.
Yeah, I think the Bengals are clicking. I would put them top three. I go Chiefs, then Bengals, then Ravens in the AFC. But I don't know. This kind of I think it shows more how the Bills aren't a good team, aren't the team that we all thought they were going to be this year. I thought they were always going to be a 12-win team. Maybe they'll get there with playing 17 games this year, but it's not looking like that now.
Are you putting the Bengals over Miami and Jacksonville?
Yeah, with their
Okay.
Super Bowl experience and all that, and better quarterbacks.
Okay. Guess I can respect that. As I am a generational Joe Burrow hater, so these last few weeks have sucked. Um, I'm not like fully convinced that they're just back as the being the Bengals. They are still technically bottom of their division. I know it's a three-way tie, and it's still early on to the season. Um, they still look good, but I don't know if I'd put them as a top three team in the AFC, especially when you got the Ravens in your own division who have looked just stupidly good, as well as obviously the Chiefs and Miami, and technically I think Buffalo. Okay, no, Buffalo doesn't have a higher win percentage than them, but they also have the Bengals hit their bye week before, so it's a very real possibility that the Bengals are going to be a wild card team and not win their division. You don't think so? I think they're going to overtake Baltimore.
I think they could. I don't want to like predict injury, but it feels like every year at some point Lamar gets injured for at least a stretch of games, and they're going to drop a few games at that point. But even assuming that Lamar stays healthy, they have been clicking on all cylinders. Like they look so good, and maybe they are that good, but I don't necessarily buy it, especially from the offensive side of the ball. I think their defense is as good as they are, but I don't know. It's hard for me to trust that offense just with how often people are like just historically injured every year.
Look at the Bengals' next four games. I want you guys to tell me what you think their record will be, and after these four, um, versus Houston, at Baltimore, versus Pittsburgh, and then at Jacksonville.
They probably lose one at Jacksonville, at Baltimore, like one of those two.
I'm gonna say 2-2. Best case
I'm
scenario is 2 or 3-1.
I'm also gonna say 2-2. You can't overlook the Texans anymore. I feel like we are all Stroud fans now. I'm a little late, but we're all
Stroud
here.
boy.
We all believe that CJ Stroud can be a generational quarterback, and generational quarterbacks can pull off upsets.
People are putting him in the MVP conversation.
I don't think he's quite. I don't think. I mean, I guess his stats say he's there, but
Week
I
by
don't
week,
think.
week by
Yeah,
week. He probably won't be there at the end of the year, but
no.
after this week, I would say he's in there. Five
Um.
TDs.
Yeah, five touchdowns. To talk about a guy who people put in the MVP conversation for a little bit last year, it's quote unquote back to his old ways, as Zach put it. Geno Smith got absolutely destroyed by the Ravens. Zach, what are your thoughts on Geno? Is he back to being the backup we always thought he was?
So before, little backstory, before Zach Wilson, I was a huge Geno Smith fan. I thought he was the golden boy.
No, you're not saying.
I thought he was
What?
so good. That was
What?
my team. I loved him. Um, but so whenever he got this start for the Seahawks and he was doing really well last year, I was all on board. But after watching him, I think he's gone back to some old mistakes. He's not as focused this year. I don't know if that the offensive line, if they have the wide receivers to make throws to. Their defense is really good. I don't know what happened this week. I don't know if it speaks more about Baltimore's defense or it does to Geno Smith. I think it kind of leans to both. It's hard to really decide, but I think there's been a few weeks now where Geno Smith has been the problem, and he hasn't been for the past, or at least last year he wasn't.
Um, I'm gonna kind of relate this to our next topic, but I just think this week was just a bad week for the Seahawks in general.
Yeah,
And the Seahawks, they're what? Still five and sorry,
5-3.
5-3. Yeah. So I mean, quarterbacks have bad weeks. Geno's had a few now, but I think overall, especially in a weak NFC, he's going to be able to lead them to the playoffs, and he has the weapons. DK, you don't think that he can lead the Seahawks to playoffs, Zach?
I just didn't like your weak NFC thing.
You have a division of the Saints, Falcons, Buccaneers, and Panthers. Are you going to tell? And then another division that has Minnesota, who has Kirk
Don't be
Cousins out the
hating
whole
on
year.
Baker.
Also
Well,
talking about a division of Denver Broncos, Raiders, and Chargers.
hey, you also have a division of Miami, Buffalo, and the Jets, and a division of Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. So the best division is in the AFC. The worst division is in the NFC. Let's be clear about that. The worst division is the NFC South. But that's not. I thought I'm not. Go back to Gino, who's the original talking point. I think Gino will be fine. Um, I really don't have any worries. I think the Baltimore is just that good that they made him look terrible. Kenneth Walker had like 16 yards on like 9 carries on Sunday, so it wasn't like he was out there like sitting in the bed by himself. The whole offense is doing terrible.
Yeah.
Um, Ryan, did you want to speak on Gino?
I don't have a lot of thoughts on Gino. Yeah, I mean, he played better last year. He's not playing as good this year.
Ooh,
It's pretty simple. I mean, I don't think he's that great of a quarterback. So
I got
It's like
another
some
point. Before the beginning of the year, Maynard asked me, he thinks that Geno Smith and Dak Prescott are on the same level, and he put the Seahawks and the Cowboys on the same level. This is another point of I'm bringing up receipts.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, record wise, technically, you are on the same level with 5-3, 5-3. But I will say, I think the Cowboys, you've lost a kind of a fluky win to the Cardinals, and then you lost to the two best teams in the NFC. So I will take my L on that one right now. There's still time left
Week by week.
for if Gino can come back, but as of right now, I will say I'm looking pretty wrong, at least on the Gino front. That Seattle defense with Devin Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen, they're looking like they're one of the best in the NFC, maybe best in the NFL. So I'll give you that though. Dak's come up way better than Gino has so far.
God, that took a lot out of you.
It hurts when I have to
I
compliment
know.
Dak or the. And I used to love Dak whenever he was at Mississippi State, and then I saw him wear that stupid star, and it just disgusting. Now one of the best teams, I believe they share the best record, or shared the second best record in the NFL, the Baltimore Ravens. For the rest of the season, are you going to buy they have the same level of success, or are they going to be, I think, faltering back down? Injuries would play a piece in it, like Ryan said, but what are y'all's thoughts?
I'll lean into
yeah,
these.
quickly injuries, and it's not gonna sustain.
I look under the assumption of not betting on injuries. Odell came back this past week. He had a pretty good game. I mean, pretty much everyone on the Ravens had a good game. Okay, Zach, is something so funny over there?
Thinking of like the tweet I saw about Odell catching a touchdown. They were comparing him to like a Make-A-Wish kid or something like that. But
He was going way too hard for his first touchdown after 8-9 games on being on the Ravens. But I think until the injuries actually happen, I don't see what's stopping the Ravens from being potentially the number one seed in the AFC. So I'll buy into them. Before we look ahead to the next week, do we have any hot takes we want to get out? Now that we're at the halfway point, a hot take for the rest of the season.
Arizona Cardinals are, I don't know, hot take, but Arizona Cardinals are in full force to go get that first overall pick. I don't know.
Pretty good one.
And after Caleb Williams been stinking it up the past few weeks, I saw a mock draft where they traded their pick to, who was the fourth pick? I don't know, someone like in the fourth pick, and they just took something else. I mean, they have Kyler Murray. Paying quarterbacks is hard, but also you need a good team to put around a rookie quarterback, but that's a different topic.
Okay. I'll say my hot take is Will Levis will lead the Titans to an above 500 record. They're currently 3-5. I think Will Levis can get it done.
It's not bad. I like that. I'll do a super hot take. I feel like this is super hot, but I think the Vikings make the playoffs with Joshua Dobbs. Cam Akers is out for the year with the torn ACL, which isn't great. But they'll be getting Justin Jefferson back soon, and that team has looked like really solid all the way around for the past couple of weeks. And for him to go in and do what he did this week with basically zero time to learn the playbook, he was just out there playing football. I think they're going to look better offensively next week. I think they're a playoff team.
I like that one. Looking ahead to week 10, if you will give me your upset of the week, to be spread or outright, and your favorite game to watch. Zach, I want to hear yours first. Look like you're studying over there.
I would say upset of the week would probably be Jags over 49ers. 49ers have been skidding for a while, and they're going coast to coast from San Fran all the way to Jacksonville on a noon kickoff. 49ers are getting -3. I don't know, just throw Jacksonville money line.
Nice.
Look ahead.
Upset.
Texans Bengals. Watching the great quarterback plays.
Okay.
Sorry.
Upset of the week over here. I've got the Raiders at home beating them Jets. I think the head coaching change was huge just for the morale of the team. And honestly, like people talk about that kind of stuff and you can kind of like just be like, oh, they're just talking like morale but like when people care about the team and they're playing harder, you could, if you watched the game this week, it looked like a different Raiders team. And I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is that bad of a quarterback. He's probably a lot better than Aiden McConnell or whoever. But with this new head coach, Josh Jacobs playing better, a spirited Devontae Adams, I think the Raiders upset this week at home. At home.
Oh, I hate Devontae. I'm back on that bandwagon. He's on my fantasy team and he sucks. My upset of the week, I almost went Texans Bengals, but Zach, you saying you like that game makes me steer away from it. I'm gonna go with the Browns over the Ravens. Now Deshaun back, running game still as good as ever, and it's just one of those weird like AFC North games. But they always have something wacky happen. I mean, the Ravens lost to the Steelers earlier this year, and then my favorite game, I'm gonna go with my Los Angeles Chargers versus the Detroit Lions. That should be a game where both teams score like 30 plus. I feel like.
Give me your pick for the game.
I'll say
Chargers are getting 2.5.
Lions. Huh?
Chargers are getting 2.5.
Yeah, I'll go with Detroit 34, Chargers 28. I think they take it. It's at home for the Chargers, which means absolutely nothing. Because we don't have home field advantage. It's not even a real thing. They were showing like the one little like cluster of like 15 Chargers fans at MetLife.
You have
They're
that
like,
one.
that she industry plant. I'm back on that wave. She's industry plant. We don't have fans like that. She was faking that reaction. Well, all right. Does anyone have anything else before we want to hop off?
NBA's back full force. I don't know why there's no game tonight, but give me NBA games every night.
Yeah, that is so weird. We have no games tonight.
We will be doing an NBA episode sometime soon, because I know, Zach, you got to talk about Ant and Luca, your two favorite. Yeah, disgusting.
Anthony Edwards locking up Jason Tatum last night.
LaMelo looks gross. I can't wait to talk about that.
30-point triple double, brother.
Second time he's ever done it. Luca did that in 5 games. That's
the first time he's ever done it. Second time in Hornets history. Yeah,
Heaving the ball up.
I I was watching the broadcast, the Dallas
He needs to
broadcast,
pray more, Maynard.
and they were like, "Oh, LaMelo's done season something historic for the Charlotte franchise. It's the second time it's ever been done in the history." By the way, Luca has 5 of those. Just my God, I think they like have a picture of Luca sitting under their pillow at night. It was kind of disgusting. They didn't want to mention the fact that LaMelo straight up outplayed Luca. Ooh, but
It's getting into that point where Luca likes winning more than just playing good.
Luca likes McDonald's more than he likes playing good.
Last year, we couldn't win without Luca scoring 30 points. We've won 3 times now.
Without him scoring 30?
Yeah.
You shouldn't talk about the MVP like that.
He's not going to be the MVP, but we're going to save all this.
Like that.
We'll save this. I feel like NBA is going to cause a lot more arguments than the NFL has.
We
don't care about the NFL.
Yeah, we have a lot of player agendas going on in the NBA.
Brian, bet now. How long until, what is it? It's November 7th. Finals are in June. How long until Maynard's off the Hornets bandwagon?
See, I don't even. Maybe we should establish like what his reality.
Oh yeah,
I don't believe he'll make the play-in. I don't believe he'll make the play-in. Yeah, that's off the bandwagon. When do you think that'll
win the finals this year?
So wait, so not even make the playoffs? So like, okay, so
yeah, what's the bandwagon? We gotta like, if you're asking what the bus is, like for a Hornets fan,
where's
making
the bus
the playoffs is the bus. The bus is heading to that first round exit, and I will happily be like cheersing with people as we ride right off that cliff.
So making the playoffs.
Making the playoffs. And I'll be on that bus pretty much all year. We don't even have Miles back yet. I mean,
when y'all play horrible and y'all are like a 6 or 7 seed, or sorry, not a 6 or 7 seed, like 13, 14 seed, are you gonna be like, there we go? Are you gonna be like, oh, it doesn't matter? It doesn't.
No, it's gonna hurt me. It's gonna hurt me because I believe the only thing that if that does happen,
will it hurt you?
It'll hurt me pretty bad, but I've seen a lot of like analysts say 1 year away, get off a Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier contract, and see, and then you can revamp the roster. That'll be my silver lining that I'll tell myself in my head before I go to bed and try not to cry. But I think this team is good enough that it can make the playoffs. Tyrese Halliburton has to score like $40 points a night to have the Pacers win. And
they have the number 1 offense right now. The Pacers.
Yeah, they've also lost by 51 at one point. So they're a hot and cold team.
Wait, so making the playoffs, last thing.
Yeah.
Making the playoffs, so like in a series, or are we talking play-in?
No, series. We make the play-in. I lost on that one.
How many games is it going to go to?
Oh, we can get swept. We can get swept. I won't care. The fact that we'll be in the playoffs, happy, good enough for me.
Okay.
They can't hurt me anymore. I've seen the one time we've been in the playoffs, horrible debacle. Dwayne Wade, 55 years old, beat us. So as long as we get back, I'll be happy. But
go ahead and receipt all this, Zach.
Yeah,
stash it away for later.
Destination swept in playoffs. Got it.
Yep. All right. Well, that's all the time we got this week. We will be back for an NBA episode, I believe, sometime early next week. But until then, we will see you next time.
Love you guys.